Hey, I'm Gareth from Park Cameras, and today Samyang have sent us their new manual focus prime lens for mirrorless cameras. Now this one's for the Sony E Mount Cameras, it's the 85mm f1.8, and intriguingly, it's made specifically for APS-C format mirrorless cameras, which means that if you're using it with something like the Sony A7 III, which is exactly what I did, you're either going to have to crop your pictures in post, or you can use it, which is exactly what I did, in the APS-C Super 35 mode, which is going to make it perfect for that. It also means that because of the crop factor of APS-C sensors, rather than the 85mm portrait lens, it actually brings it up to the equivalent of about a 135mm, which is actually more into the medium telephoto lens range. Now, as you might expect from Samyang, this lens has been designed with both optical quality and value for money as key considerations. And I've got to say, the image quality on this is really, really nice. The images are nice and sharp and clean, and I was really happy with the stuff I was getting. Samyang have actually said they've designed it to be sharp from the center all the way out to the edges, and I had no issues with sharpness at all, even when shooting wide open at 1.8. Still seemed to be nice and sharp. Speaking of which, the maximum aperture is 1.8, so it's nice and fast, means you can get those nice out of focus elements either in the foreground or the background, or both in some cases. You can also get some really nice bokeh in there, and I've got to say the bokeh looks really good. It's nice and smooth, very appealing. Lights and things like that look really, really nice, which is lovely on a lens like this. And it means you can just totally isolate your subject in the frame and get some really, really nice shots. One thing to be aware of, because it is a manual focus lens, is that if you're shooting wide open at 1.8, you just need to be extra careful when you are focusing, because it is such a shallow depth of field. Obviously, if you're using something like focus peaking, something like that, that's great, but you just want to take a little extra time just to make sure you're nailing that focus. That fast maximum aperture also means that it's great for shooting later in the day. So when the sun's gone down, when it's getting a little bit darker, you can carry on shooting, even handheld, because you're able to use that faster aperture. So that's exactly what I did. When the sun had gone, we were still shooting. We wanted to get some shots of the pier with the lights and things like that. We wanted to get some nice portrait shots once the lights were on. So we waited till the sun had gone down, and we were still able to shoot handheld without any problems. Now, the image quality is also great for video. It looks really, really good. But one thing to just take into consideration, because it's the equivalent of a 135mm, it is just a little bit more difficult to shoot handheld because of the camera shake. It's kind of magnified by that focal length. Now, the lens itself is very small and light. It's surprisingly small, especially for an 85mm, and it sits really nicely on things like the A7 III. It's about the perfect weight, and a great size for those small little cameras. It means that the system is nicely balanced, whereas some of the lenses for those cameras can be massive and really heavy and just completely unbalanced system. This sits very well on the front of those. It has an aperture control ring around the sides, which allows you to control your aperture on the lens itself, and it has the manual focus ring there as well. Now, the manual focus ring, because obviously it's just a manual focus lens, it's quite important, is very nicely weighted. It's fairly heavily weighted, which I like, especially for a portrait-y kind of lens like this, if you're going to be manually focusing, and it feels very good. It feels like it gives you that extra bit of control for selecting focus. Overall, this is a lovely lens to use. Whether you want to use it for things like portrait and get those out of focus shots, the bokeh looks so good, the image quality is really nice, and you want to get those nice portrait shots, or if you want to use it for things like medium telephoto work, so getting medium telephoto landscapes, or shooting things further away, or shooting people further away, this is a lovely lens to have. Because of the size of it, it just sits in your bag very, very nicely. It sits on those mirrorless cameras very, very nicely as well. Now, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions at all, pop them down in the comments below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, thanks for watching.